Hello, and welcome to Radiance Revealed, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jen Haley. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, fitness enthusiast, nutrition expert, and global explorer that over the years has uncovered that your skin is a true representation of your internal health. Each week, we will chat with leading health, wellness, and even spiritual experts who will reveal secrets to true health and vitality. My goal is to help you change small habits to give you the power to create a more balanced, aligned, and elevated version of yourself. Now let's dive in. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Jen Haley, and welcome to this week's episode of Radiance Revealed. And this week, we are going to talk about all things collagen, every angle of collagen, how to bank it, how to build it. So let's first talk about what is collagen. So collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body, and it plays a crucial role in the structure of various tissues, with the skin being the most visible, right? So our skin is our largest, most visible organ, and the health of the collagen in your skin likely represents the health of the collagen in your body. So in the skin, what does collagen even do? It provides structural support and elasticity. So it gives your skin the shape and the bounce that you want that's associated with youthful, healthy skin. It also helps to maintain skin hydration. So it helps to hold onto the water and hydration in the skin, making it look plump and dewy. And the other thing about collagen is that healthy collagen will reduce the appearance of wrinkles. So when we actually biopsy a wrinkle in dermatology, you cannot see a wrinkle under the microscope. It looks just like the skin next to it that doesn't have a wrinkle. And what I think is going on here is that when the collagen becomes disorganized, it does not hold that structure anymore. So when we make the faces and talk and chew and all the things that our face and our body does all the time, the collagen sort of holds in place in that area and it doesn't bounce back anymore. And it looks like a wrinkle on the surface of the skin. But underneath the skin, it's just very disorganized, just like all of the other places. So as we age, our body unfortunately produces less collagen. And at the same time, it's broken down by extrinsic factors. So for those of you that don't know this, this is so empowering. When I went to medical school, we were taught that it's genetics, it's genetics, it's genetics. We thought everything was just genetics and we blamed it on genetics. And now we are discovering that somewhere between 85 and 93% of aging and disease is controlled by the environment and the choices we get to make every day to move us in the direction of health or to move us in the direction of disease. So we may not have the best genes, yet we can make lifestyle choices to not allow those genes to turn on. Okay. So these extrinsic factors, external extrinsic factors all around us will either promote the degradation of collagen at a more rapid rate or slow it down, right? So we really want to do two things. We want to encourage collagen production. And the way to encourage collagen production is by minimizing cellular senescence to the fibroblasts. So I'll take a step back on this. So the fibroblasts are the cells that produce collagen production in the skin. And these fibroblasts undergo cellular senescence, just like all cells in our body become senescent. So when a cell does not function any longer and it just sits there, it becomes like a zombie cell. And it not only takes up space, it's like if I was sitting in this room with a full packed room of a bunch of dead bodies that were taking up space, I wouldn't be able to move very much. And I wouldn't really be able to work or do what I need to do. But not only do senescent cells sit there doing nothing, they also release something called SASP, which are secretory signaling molecules that basically send signals that damage the healthy cells. So the more and more senescent cells that occur in the human body, they basically damage the healthy cells. And this happens over time. So when this happens inside the body, contributing to accelerated aging, and it also happens on the skin in the fibroblast cell in particular, which decreases the amount of collagen that the fibroblast is able to produce. So one of the ways that you can reverse senescence, there's a number of ways. We'll dive into that in a future episode. I'll actually have an expert on for that. But one of the ways that you can reduce cellular senescence is through fasting and giving your body a break to clean up the dead bodies or the dead cells, right? Through a process called apoptosis, where it signals cell death, and autophagy, where it eats it up. So that will help to keep the fibroblasts healthy, as well as there's other things that will help to produce collagen production that we'll dive into. But what else can we do externally in our environment to minimize the breakdown of collagen? Number one is going to be protecting your skin in the high value areas, particularly your face, your neck, your chest, and the back of your hands, the areas that see the sun every single day. We want to protect these areas from the sun. Why? Because the sun is giving us UV radiation. So while we love the sun, and you can go back to my episode with Dr. Varman, Dr. Katie Varman, on why we like the sun, because the sun gives us a whole host of benefits. We want to be smart about it, though. There's a sweet spot. There is an amount that we want to get all of the benefits and minimize the DNA damage and the breakdown of our collagen. This radiation, because no one's going to jump in an X-ray machine and get radiation, right? We also don't want that radiation from our sun long-term. So that is really the number one cause of collagen breakdown over time to the sun-exposed areas. If you look at either your bottom, your tush, or the upper inner part of your arm, which you could see mine if you're on YouTube, that is the natural age of your skin. It looks like a baby. It really looks like a baby. It doesn't age much. And all of the other aging on our forearms, our face, our neck, our chest, that is from UV radiation and exposure over time. So this is why dermatologists, we struggle with educating people on how to protect themselves from the sun in a sweet spot, but also getting the benefits of sunlight, because we see people without their clothes on, and there's very specific patterns when, a rancher takes off his shirt, or someone that lives in Hawaii, or someone that's been exposed even in the mountains of Colorado, where I used to live, where people would only see the sun in the summer. And the areas that are exposed to the sun are really very, very different over time than the areas that are not exposed to the sun when it comes to aging. And we have the capability of living well into our hundreds. So we have to protect our canvas, our outer canvas, in order to make sure it lasts with us, right? So that's enough of the rant about UV radiation because it really does a lot of things. It boosts something called MMP, or matrix metalloproteinases, that basically are enzymes that degrade collagen. So while there are MMPs that are necessary in order to remodel collagen, we're constantly remodeling and making fresh skin all the time. So we need to break down, make more, break down, make more. When the balance is off, and MMP3 and 9 in particular spike, it degrades collagen too rapidly for the fibroblast to make fresh collagen. The second thing that can contribute to accelerated degradation of collagen is smoking. It's kind of a no-brainer nowadays. Smoking is just bad for every part of you, okay? Avoid that. Third is going to be pollution and living in poor air quality environment. I'm a huge fan of air purifiers in the house. I like a company called Molecule. It's spelled Molekule. And then internally, we want to look for a low glycemic diet. So eating real food. If you have fruit, it has fiber in it, so your sugar is not going to spike. If you have processed foods or sugar, it causes a spike in your glucose. And when you get a spike in your glucose and your sugar levels in your body, these high levels of circulating sugar, they bind to all of the protein. Collagen is your protein. They bind to the collagen they create something called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. And these AGEs are super stiff. So, if you squeeze your cheek, it should bounce right back. When your collagen is stiff, it doesn't do that. And unfortunately, as dermatologists, we see this remarkably in patients who have diabetes for many, many years, who have uncontrolled glucose levels. It just really causes a lot of sagging and sallowness to the skin because it causes this AGE production, which down the road you get receptors of AGEs cause a lot of inflammation, and it causes even more problems than just the collagen. But we do know that inflammation attracts the MMPs and breaks down collagen even further. And then lastly, that I want to talk about is stress. So while we can't necessarily control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it, right? And this is something I think we all have to practice, right? So a lot of times people that are under a lot of stress, and I was one of them at one point in my life when I had two young children and I had a busy career, people would tell me, you need to meditate. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Are you crazy? So when you have a lot of stress, you typically don't have time to do the mindfulness stuff. So the simplest thing that I find can help with stress, besides sleep, you must prioritize your sleep. You must prioritize your sleep. So besides sleep is breath work. So if you're in the grocery line, if you're in the car, if you're waiting on hold with the customer service, I love the 4-7-8 breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. So inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 7, exhale through your mouth for a count of 8, repeat. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Dr. Andrew Weil, pretty much the father of integrative medicine, has some wonderful YouTube videos showing this. And if you do 4 cycles, it takes less than a minute in the morning, 4 cycles in the afternoon or evening, another less than a minute, for I think 6 weeks, it will lower your blood pressure. And it will have all these other beneficial effects on your skin and your body, even with acne. Okay, so what is this concept? Now we're going to talk about collagen banking. What is this concept of collagen banking? So it's a novel skincare concept. It's really a new term for something we've always done in the field of dermatology. So collagen banking is a skincare concept that focuses on preserving and stimulating collagen in the skin while you're younger, in your 20s and 30s. So not waiting until the wrinkles appear and you want to reverse things, but just making sure you keep that collagen in the bank. It is a long-term strategy, and it's never too late to do this. So even if you're 40, 50, 60 and beyond, you still want to keep the collagen you have. We just want to ramp up the stimulation of fresh collagen. So you want to do it at every age, but it's great to do when you're young. Start young with everything, right? It's like if you're investing and you invest $1 a day when you're 15, you're going to have many millions of dollars by the time you're 60. And the same holds true with collagen. We want to start young by doing that collagen banking. So what are some things that you can do for collagen banking? Number 1 is skincare products. Lots and lots out there on skincare products. Very simple to start. Vitamin C in the morning. This will help to produce fresh collagen and help prevent the breakdown of collagen in the skin. Sunscreen, as we talked about, after your vitamin C in the morning. Cleanse, vitamin C, sunscreen. In the evening, cleanse, get the makeup, get the dirt off. Apply a retinol, a vitamin A product. This will help to stimulate collagen formation. And then a moisturizer with peptides. Peptides can stimulate collagen. Second step for collagen banking, supplement with hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Some people are controversial about this. I think the evidence is pretty clear. There are a number of clinical trials showing that collagen peptides can help to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, to increase the hydration of your skin. So I definitely like collagen peptides. I do like to check the source on everything. Supplements are not controlled. So you want to make sure they're GMP certified. You want to look for regenerative farming practices that are grass fed. Um, and I also like products that have multi-source collagen from many different sources, as well as contain vitamin C plus or minus hyaluronic acid for the most benefit. The third thing that I like to do for collagen banking is red light therapy. Red light therapy boosts mitochondria in the fibroblasts to increase collagen production. And then if you're looking at doing some things in the office, you can do microneedling. So I do not like derma rollers at home. These roll and tear and shear through the skin in an uncontrolled way, potentially leading to infections and scarring in the skin. I prefer the stamper style microneedling that we do in the office. We do it as a sterile procedure, pretty sterile. We clean the skin with typically a surgical scrub before we do anything. And this stamps little micro channels in the skin. And if you've heard my podcast on hormesis, we understand that stimulating something will make it stronger. So these small little holes in the skin will basically stimulate a reactive response to produce more collagen to heal. So we're walking the line between no damage and letting things disintegrate versus causing a scar, right? We want to just do enough to stimulate more collagen to form without causing too much damage that would lead to a scar. And these microneedles can do that. There's also some other cool things you could do with microneedling. Like you can do a chemical peel afterwards and it goes down the channels and it does a little bit more of a boost of stimulating fresh skin cells to form. You can do exosomes. And I've been using exosomes since 2015. The jury's still out on them. They're basically stimulating, they're sending out signals to produce to basically stimulate your stem cells. But there's some controversy as to like what the best form is. Are they actually sending the right signals? Are they sending other signals? There's still more to discover with them, but I think they're low risk topically. I'd never inject them at this point. And I use them with microneedling all the time to stimulate collagen repair and reorganization. And then we discussed the sunscreen. So sunscreen is essential. Wearing a hat if you're outside for a long period of time because it's just a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer. So that's it with collagen banking. Now, the next topic I want to talk about are collagen masks. Are collagen masks and collagen creams effective? No, they're not. They're not effective. Collagen is too large. It's too large of a molecule. It will not penetrate the skin. And this holds true with a lot of skincare. The formulation matters because even though the ingredients that are studied may be effective in the lab, they're not necessarily effective in the person. And penetration and formulation matter so that the products are actually getting to where they need to be in the skin. So I like liposomal technology. Liposomal technology basically allows things to penetrate your bilipid membrane in your skin, the fatty part, to penetrate without causing a lot of irritation deep within the skin. But basically, collagen applied topically in a mask or in a cream is not going to do anything. So I would save your money. Any results you see are just due to the hydration because putting a moisturizer on your skin immediately is going to make your skin look more dewy and glowing and just temporarily boost the appearance of the skin. I mean, I live in Arizona and my skin looks horrible here compared to if I go to Austin, Texas, or somewhere in California. And one of the ways you can hack if you have dry skin is get a mineral spray water like Vichy or Aven or La Roche-Posay. One of the reasons why I love these mineral waters is because they have prebiotics and postbiotics in them. So they help balance the microbiome of your skin. So you spray them to your face, and while your face is still moist, you want to apply your moisturizer. And especially one with a hyaluronic acid, if you have a hyaluronic acid moisturizer, this will hold onto that water and immediately plump up your skin and smooth out any textural abnormalities and also give your skin a temporary hydration boost. So that's what I recommend. Stay away. Just don't waste your money on these masks. Okay, so going back to collagen supplements, there are several randomized controlled trials. There's meta-analyses that have shown that hydrolyzed collagen supplementation improves skin elasticity, improves skin hydration, and can reduce the appearance of wrinkles compared to placebo. So these are pretty good studies. They're small. There's not thousands of people. There's more like dozens to hundreds of people, but they're good. And I think the benefits outweigh the risks. So you have to give it 8 weeks. Anything you do to stimulate collagen, you need to give 8 to 12 weeks because it takes that long for the fibroblasts to produce new collagen. It's really important, as I mentioned earlier, to look for hydrolyzed collagen or collagen peptides, as these are the most easily absorbed. And look for those that have vitamin C because it plays a role in collagen synthesis. So I've always wondered, having a background in nutrition, I studied nutrition undergraduate, and I've always had an interest in nutrition. And I thought to myself, okay, so what's the difference between taking a collagen peptide versus just having protein? Like, do we have specific receptors in the gut that just absorbs collagen peptides, or are they broken down into amino acids? Let's take a step back. So peptides are chains of amino acids, and amino acid chains that are less than 50 in length are a peptide, more than 50 in length are a protein. So when we consume protein, our body typically breaks it down into amino acids, and then they're absorbed, and then they're usually built up into protein, let's just say, in the body, into muscle, let's just say. So I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't protein just work? Like, why can't I just eat chicken or steak, and then that breaks down into amino acids, and my body should know to produce collagen? Versus, why is collagen so special, right? Well, there's a couple of reasons that we think we understand. There's still more to be discovered here, but a significant proportion of collagen peptides are absorbed as like combinations of di and tripeptides. That means 2 together or 3 together, and they're not completely broken down. The other thing is that collagen peptides have a high concentration of proline, glycine, and hydroxyproline, which they're crucial to building strong connective tissue, whether it's in the joints or whether it's in the skin. So this glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline are 3 amino acids that favor connective tissue versus the other amino acids. So I think what we're getting at here is that having a higher concentration of those amino acids is more favorable to producing collagen and building connective tissue in the joints and other areas. And it's just a unique combination that's not found in other protein sources. So once they're absorbed, the collagen peptides, they bind to the fibroblasts and they stimulate the production of new collagen, elastic tissue, and hyaluronic acid, all that form the structure in the skin. And just remember, if you're like me, you should aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight per day in protein. So I aim for 120 grams of protein a day. And there is some research showing that once we reach that amount, it satiates us. We're not hungry anymore. And it's a good amount to build muscle in your body. And as we get older, losing muscle is a real deal. There's something called anabolic resistance where it's very, very hard to put on muscle. I used to have an easy time when I was young, like 10-pound weights, I'd build muscle, not so much now at my age. So there's a real deal with getting enough protein as you age. And more so because we know that our collagen is produced, it is a protein. So we need those amino acids. But collagen peptides do not count towards that total amount of protein that we're taking in every day because they are missing out on tryptophan and methionine. and cysteine. So the methionine is really low in it, but they're missing out on tryptophan and cysteine. So they're not considered a complete protein. So they don't go towards that total protein amount per day. It's just something to keep in mind. If you're taking in somewhere between 10 and 30 grams of collagen peptides, it doesn't go towards your 120 or 150 grams of protein per day. That is a separate thing. Okay. So should we talk about topical peptides? This is something that's thrown around quite a bit, and they're not all the same. So, as I mentioned, peptides are chains of amino acid that are less than 50 amino acids. More is a protein. And then there's oligopeptides, which are like 10 to 20. And then there's polypeptides, which are somewhere like 20 to 50 amino acids. So there are several peptides that have been shown in studies to be beneficial in skincare. And the first one is matrixyl. This is a signal peptide. It might also be on the label as palmitoyl pentapeptide and palmitoyl oligopeptide. I will have that in the show notes because these are long words. Like I have to look them up every time. And I've been a board certified dermatologist for 20 years. So matrixyl is the name. And these are signal peptides. So they send signals to stimulate collagen and elastin production, which improves skin firmness and reduces fine lines. So look for matrixyl. The second is copper peptides. And I love GHKCU in injectable form. It's not currently available since November of 2023. It definitely helps with wound healing, skin elasticity, and reducing inflammation. I have not been as impressed with it topically, and I find that it's a little bit expensive to get compounded. So just keep it in mind. GHKCU is a nice peptide, but I'm not seeing it penetrate the skin very well, at least in the formulations that I've utilized. The third is an enzyme inhibitor peptide. And we talked about the enzyme MMP or matrix metalloproteinase. And these enzymes break down collagen. And while they're needed to help remodel the skin and the collagen in the skin, when they're out of balance and there's too much MMPs, usually from inflammation, it degrades collagen. It can make you look older by breaking down the collagen in your skin, or it can cause a divot of an acne scar after a pimple goes away when there's a lot of inflammation. And this is one of the reasons why I don't want people to pick their skin, because when you pick your skin and you squeeze a pimple, as much as comes out above the surface of the skin also bursts underneath the skin. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This holds true with pimples. So when that explosion happens underneath the skin, it sets off a huge inflammatory cascade. And the matrix metalloproteinases, the MMPs, come in and they start breaking down the collagen. And that's what leaves a divot or an indented scar after acne, which you're more likely to get if you pick it. So leave it alone. Okay, so enzyme inhibitor peptides that can be applied topically are from soybean. They're soybean peptides and rice-derived peptides. And the next fourth one is hexapeptide 10. Hexapeptide 10 probably has 6 peptides by the name of it. It firms and tightens sagging skin in studies. And then there's oligopeptide 68. And this can reduce the appearance of dark spots and evens out skin tone. So these are the ones you want to look for. Peptides are not all created equal, just like everything in this world. They're not all the same. You can't just throw that word out, peptide. You have to actually look at the label and read it and understand that the effectiveness is going to depend on the formulation, because there's factors like pH and the ability to penetrate the skin barrier. So ingredients that are active in a formulation don't necessarily get to where they need to be in the skin. So the formulation really, really matters. I'm going to do a whole separate episode on red light therapy, so we're going to leave that one. The only thing I want to jump into is topical skincare, because if you are doing all of these other things and you go to the dermatologist, you might do, microneedling or another procedure in the office to stimulate collagen. It's almost like you go to the dentist and get your teeth cleaned, right? You still have to brush your teeth at home. So skincare at home is a very low-hanging fruit. It doesn't have to be complicated. I feel like there's so much information out there and there's so many people overcomplicating it. Whatever you decide to do for your skin, stick with it for a minimum of 8 weeks. I usually like to address changing skincare with every season. So as the seasons change, our skin type, our skin changes as well. And we should also take a look at our skincare routine and how we should change it at that time. But give the same routine 8 to 12 weeks before you change anything. So in the morning, cleanse, then apply a vitamin C. There's many forms of vitamin C, and some are more stable than others. And we will talk about that on another episode on skincare. The reason why vitamin C is necessary in the morning is because it stimulates the fibroblasts that we talked about. It's a cofactor for enzymes involved in collagen synthesis. And it also works as an antioxidant to protect the skin from oxidative stress, which degrades collagen. So any oxidative stress that's happening from the environment that your sunscreen doesn't protect you from, the vitamin C will work as a backup mechanism. And then you put your sunscreen on. So morning cleanse, vitamin C, sunscreen. Very, very basic. There's things you can do to add to that. That's the basics, right? For every age. At night, cleanse, get your makeup off, get the dirt and debris from the day off, apply a retinoid. Over the counter, you have the option of retinol or retinaldehyde. And prescription is tretinoin or retinoic acid. The retinol, retinaldehyde are a little bit less irritating, and these convert in the skin to retinoic acid. Now, retinoid isn't sexy. It's been around since the 1970s, and it's tried and it's true and it's proven. So you're not going to see a ton of TikTok videos on it. It stimulates collagen synthesis, both type 1 and type 3, and it stimulates fibroblasts to renew, repair, upregulate collagen genes and make new collagen. We see this time and time again. It also inhibits those MMPs that degrade collagen. So how do you use retinol? The biggest thing that happens is that people become irritated by retinol and other retinoids. So I always say start low and go slow. So you want to start with an over-the-counter retinol and just apply it. You put a pea-sized amount to your finger, apply to your forehead, each cheek, chin, and chest, and rub it in. Avoid the creases on your eyes, your nose, your corners of your mouth, and then your neck. Because when you sleep at night and the neck crease is there, you don't want it to pool in any of these areas because it can cause more irritation to those areas if it pools in those areas. And do that 3 times a week for about 2 weeks. If you're not having any irritation, go to 4 times a week for 1 or 2 weeks. No irritation, go to 5 times a week. Now, when you're able to use your over-the-counter retinol for a full week, when you're able to use your over-the-counter retinol for a full week, for a couple weeks, you can start using a prescription strength tretinoin. Talk to your board-certified dermatologist about that. You don't always need one. You may be getting beautiful benefits after a few months, especially if you have a liposomal retinol that's penetrating without causing a lot of irritation. There are some tips and tricks to make it less irritating, but that's really the basic way that everyone should be using it. You can tolerate it over time. You just have to start low, go slow. And then you put your moisturizer over it. You can use, if you're young and oily and acne prone, I love hyaluronic acid-based moisturizers. If you're older and you're looking to stimulate some more collagen, look for a peptide moisturizer. And those are basically the simplest things for skincare that you can do to preserve and protect and stimulate collagen growth. The last thing I want to talk about is fillers. Okay, so I think that we've overdone fillers over the last 10 years. And, at first we were just filling the nasolabial fold, which is the smile crease next to the nose. We were overfilling that area because people were getting creases. And then through the next 10 years, we're like, no, we really have to address the lateral part of the face and the temples and the cheekbones, and looking at the face globally as like revolumizing it, or the liquid facelift. And then we just overfilled everyone, almost like a balloon that you just keep blowing up more and more and more. So I think that fillers are becoming more conservative, which I'm enjoying seeing over time. And we need to address the volume of the face in other ways, like your bone health, your teeth health. Those of you watching can see if I have braces on right now, right? So there's scaffolding that's involved with the bones and the teeth that support the skin. And if you have healthy bone structure and a healthy jaw, your skin will have more of a surface to be supported by, right? And it won't look as saggy. So we do need to address that stuff through lifestyle. Fillers can't replace all of that. There are biostimulatory products or collagen stimulating products. They're also called fillers. They go under the name of Sculptra or Radiesse. Sculptra is PLLA or polylactic acid. And then there's Radiesse, which is calcium hydroxyapatite. And these stimulate collagen to form. So they're inserted underneath the skin, and your body has a reaction to them, which stimulates collagen to form over time. So the placement and the technique matter a lot. You need to go to someone who understands, who has a good aesthetic eye, who understands the risks involved of putting something foreign under your skin. But these biostimulatory fillers, I think, are becoming more in favor over just revolumizing people, because it's just, we keep advancing our evolution of understanding how to combine things both internally and externally. And I think that it's really important to understand that there's this thing called filler fatigue, where it's just enough is enough. And I think that's how obviously my attitude is right now, because there's perception shifts. So when I'm in certain areas like Southern California or Scottsdale, Arizona, you start looking around and people have a certain look to them because they're getting the same procedures by the same people all the time. And you start thinking that, high cheekbones and big lips and high eyebrows are normal. And then, maybe I'll go visit Colorado or Nebraska and I'll say, whoa, though that's not normal. That's not how people are supposed to look. So just take a look at what you might think you want, because if you're looking at TikTok or you're watching a lot of reality TV, your perception of what is healthy and natural may have shifted, especially with reality TV. Trust me, I love it too, but that's not how people act and that's not how people look. So be aware of these things. We all just want to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what I want for you. So I hope that you were able to absorb some of this information, and now you have a little bit more direction on what to do for your skin. Truly remember, the compound effect is huge. Little things make a big difference over time. So no one needs to be perfect. We just need to make more good decisions than bad decisions. And with that, I will say goodbye for this week. And please keep sending me your questions. The best way to get in touch with me is by DM at Dr. Jen Haley on Instagram, DrJenHaley. I also love LinkedIn for more professional collaborations. And if you like this episode, or if you didn't like this episode, please let me know if there's something that I left out, if there's something that didn't make sense to you. I would love to hear it. Please share this with your friends, and I would love a review, because the more reviews we have, especially if they're 5-star glowing reviews, that makes the podcast more visible for other people, and it will just accelerate the knowledge base for everyone out there. So thank you. Bye.
If you're enjoying the Radiance Revealed podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, please give us a review, as that helps others to find this podcast. And if you want to connect with me, please visit my website, drjenhaley.com, or you can find me on Instagram at drjenhaley.
Hello, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. The statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility made for statements made by guests. Neither this podcast nor any of the information contained within it are a substitute for care by a qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you are looking for help in your journey, please seek out a qualified medical practitioner.